Pratisandhi is a youth-run initiative talking about sexual health and sexuality and sex education in India, both on their online platforms as well as offline. The key focus is to provide knowledge and education about sex, and they do this mainly via their campaigns made for the youth and by the youth. Pratisandhi is synonymous with resistance, and that is their resolve to provide resistance against the age-old beliefs and taboo surrounding sexuality and sexual health. Today we have with us one of their volunteers who is also an undergraduate student, Saharsh. So let's start. Hi Saharsh, can you introduce yourself please?
Hi, Onela. Thank you so much for having me. So, I'm Saharsh. I work with this really great NGO called Pratisandhi. I've been working with them for the better part of 2 years now. And the primary aim of the initiative is to increase awareness about sex and promote sex education and safe sex and everything under that spectrum.
Awesome. Okay. We'll start with the questions. What exactly is comprehensive sexuality education and what does it comprise of?
A CSE is just a more comprehensive approach to sex ed. So while most of us in India don't really have sex ed, but whatever little bit of understanding that we do have of sex education, it's very, just a physical overview of sexual intercourse and nothing in between. CSE approaches sex ed in the way that it wants to teach the child or whoever is going through this process the physical understandings, social understandings, emotional understandings that are related with sex and sexuality. And the very best part about CSE is that now that the United Nations Population Fund and UNESCO is really promoting it, the materials are all available online free of cost. It's very accessible. So if any parent or institution wants to take up this initiative, it's very accessible, which is great.
Yeah, in a country like India, our population is but it's so sad that we don't have sex ed. It should be a part of the curriculums in school, is what I feel as well. What age should a child ideally be exposed to sex ed?
So, in a very, very ideal world, and I understand this might be a bit too altruistic, but in a CSE system, kids right from the age of 5 or 6 start going through this process wherein they learn about their family relationships, new friendships, so on. And then this goes on till the age of 15, 16, 17, where they were already either gone through puberty or going through puberty, where they understand, okay, this is what's happening to my body, and this is how I should make myself sexually healthy and protected. It's a more of a process, and it's more of a very, very long process which needs to start early, and hopefully it'll start happening soon.
5 or 6 is like a dream. I mean, I don't think any parent is comfortable talking to their kid, or even schools for that matter.
A good way of seeing this is, so how we're taught math. So initially in math, we're taught basic addition, subtraction, then BODMAS, then comes geometry, then algebra, then calculus. So similarly in a CSE system, we're taught simpler concepts. So I think for most people, and again, this comes from a sort of position of privilege of the family bond is the initial bond they make. And then as they go mature, it's friends and so on and so forth. So similarly in the CSE structure, they'll go from simpler concepts to more complex concepts as they grow mature. So I think that's a good example. Math is a good illustration for this.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. Why do people assume that exposing youngsters to sex ed will influence their life in a negative way?
We live in a society where sex itself is talked about so hush-hush and in a very, don't talk about it publicly manner. Then sex ed in itself can't be approached positively. So, but it's quite a sad thing in the sense that when it's something so important and such an important part of your life and you don't address it, people just assume, oh, it won't happen. But the fact of the matter is, irrespective of whether the parents or the school or whichever institution we're referring to doesn't talk about it, it's not that the kid won't go through puberty or won't become a sexual being. So I think that needs to definitely go. And simply the understanding that sex ed might spoil children is wrong. I think
Yeah.
it does the opposite. It actually will help protect a lot of children who are going through puberty in being more safer, in expressing themselves in a more safer manner. So I think it's
Yeah.
very, very crucial.
I was even talking to my mom about this, and I was wanting to know her opinion. So she was like, I think people that are exposed to sex ed have sex early or on in their life. And I was like, I don't think that's true. I mean, I think it's quite the opposite. They try to understand what is happening.
The age at which people have sex is can obviously varies from individual to individual and is a very personal
Yeah.
decision. But whatever age a person decides to go ahead with it, I think as long as they're safe, there is proper consent and communication involved, and all the parties involved are on the same page. I think that's
Mm.
what sex ed can ensure, which is extremely crucial.
Why is sex ed such a taboo in society, and who is to blame, the parents or the youth?
Most pop culture references that you'll come across will be, oh, my parents are such, or the generation gone by is such and such.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, it works in a cyclical manner, in that the generation gone by didn't weren't exposed to sex ed and sexual education in the way that we might be, and therefore they'll obviously want the ideas that they have of sex and sexuality to be replicated to us, and that cycle will continue until it's broken by either an institution who teaches kids, this is what it's supposed to be, this is how you're supposed to approach this. So
Maybe
it will
our
definitely
generation
come.
will be better talking to kids about their
I
sexuality.
hope so. I
Yeah,
really
I
hope so.
really
Yeah.
hope so too. How will educating the youth help with matters like sexual abuse or rape?
Oh, it will help 100%. I think consent, communication, and just take looking out for your partner are one of the very crucial aspects of sex ed, which I think a lot of people don't understand in a lot of ways, because it's often just looked at from the point of view of, oh, you tell them about sex and their physical bodies and that's it.
Yeah.
While a lot of these crimes and are just mindsets are deeply rooted in patriarchy, but exposing children from a young age that intercourse should be something that's approached by two people who are equals, and for both parties pleasure and and with both parties comfort and consent, is a great starting point, I think. And I understand that this isn't a blanket solution and won't just end rape altogether, but it definitely needs to happen.
What role do you think patriarchy plays in all of this?
I think with rape and sexual abuse, in a lot of ways, it's more of a sense of imposition of power, backed by a patriarchal system, which makes men in most cases entitled. Of course, there are
Yeah.
other persons who commit rape as well, but in a very, very generic sense, if I talk about it. So I think once that is tackled at an early age, only that uh, women and people of the other of any third gender are looked at not from the point of view of, okay, these are just objects for sexual gratification, they're just equals and they are also persons. I can't believe that needs to be said, but
I
sadly
know.
it does.
It
It just
does. It
sadly does.
does.
So yeah.
Yeah. I really wish people would also talk about female pleasure, because speaking from personal experience, I had never heard of something like this till I was about 16, 17 years old. And I was like, what is this? I was so new to it. And then once, the internet can influence you in a good way and a wrong way. Thankfully, to me, it was the good side of things, right? But very easily you can just go down the spiral, because even porn portrays women as just objects, and I really think that people need to talk about female pleasure, but they just don't.
One thing that you're absolutely spot on is a lot of our pop culture puts perceptions into people's head which are they're not even like, they're just supernatural beyond a point. They don't make
Yeah, they
sense.
don't make any
They should.
sense. How is
Yeah.
that even real, is what, you know
I think it's very important to even understand the point of ethical and non-ethical porn. In a lot of cases,
yeah.
I think it's important to know that a lot of porn isn't shot with the consent of all parties, and that makes it just extremely unethical. So there are websites that you will be able to find that show ethical porn where all parties know what's happening, and there everyone is on the same page.
Even the question of equal pay, because I feel even if it's normally shot, like even if it's ethical, the pay of the man will be much more than that of the female, and I don't know why that is, but it's just something so bizarre that exists.
Honestly, we don't have equal pay in
Any
corporate
field, yeah.
jobs, or
Yeah,
even
exactly.
I think that was recently a big thing, even in some movie that where an actress wasn't getting, and she was a really famous actress, wasn't getting the same billing as her male co-star, which is just bizarre. And to be honest, how we look at sex work or porn artists and so on, no chance that there will be. And it's quite sad that it is the way it is, but there's almost no chance where their rights will be protected. So
Yeah.
yeah,
How does lack of sex ed affect sexual minorities?
I think I'll take it into a different direction. So I got out of school about three and a half years ago, and I think I'm sure it might be something similar for you. Most of my time in school, I think sexual minorities were looked at, or the words associated with them were used as insults. I think
Yes,
and the sad portion is that it's still true.
true. It's still
and
true.
and I think when we're at that point, to truly go to a point where people understand that sexuality is indeed a spectrum and it can work in a lot of different ways than just even plainly heterosexual homosexual, there's just so much that there is. I think sex ed can go a long way.
I read about this thing that some famous person said that HIV is a gay disease. And that really hit me. I was like, this is so hurtful. And if it's hurtful to me being a heterosexual woman, I can't imagine the LGBTQ community, reading that and being like, oh my God, are we that worthless to people around the world? What are the most common myths that you've heard about sex?
The most general understanding of sex is again very heteronormative. It's that only penetrative sex is sex. Second, pulling out is an effective method of birth control. It's
Right.
not just use a proper form of a barrier form of protection, a male condom or female condom or whatever. Then oral sex can't cause STIs or STDs. While they are rare, it can happen.
They exist, yeah.
There's just a lot of it, and obviously these will exist because we just don't talk about it openly.
There is no sex ed, right? So the last one is, how can we improve our current situation so that we can help the next generation?
Besides everything that I've already talked about earlier, just have more conversations. I think as simple as that, have more conversations surrounding sex, sexuality, gender, everything else. It's something that's such an important or such a huge part of most people's lives, and it's something that can be really wonderful and beautiful if it's approached well. That we don't talk about it is just baffling. More conversations with people of different sexualities, different genders, different orientations. Have those conversations, promote those conversations, and learn, relearn, unlearn. Besides conversations, honestly, speak up. Your voice does matter in a lot of ways. At least, if not, I'm not saying, oh, you'll become the Gandhi of sex ed and you'll inspire the entire generation. But if you know better, educate at least your friend circle. You'd have 2 or 3 close friends, even they've gone through similar experiences where they haven't been exposed to these things. Tell them, make them also learn. And
Right.
I think once that shift happens in a lot of people from our generation, colleges and schools will automatically also be incentivized to take this up, because again, it's like a cyclical process.
This was a great interview. I loved talking to you. You're very insightful. So thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. And I hope that everyone learns something and has a takeaway from this video. And maybe this can be the starting point for conversation between parents, So if anyone needs this video, please share it. Okay.
No, yeah.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much, Anela, for having me. And yeah, thank you for making me sound insightful. I wasn't.
No,
It was, the
great.
direction
You
you
were
gave the
great.
conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. So that was it for the video today, and I really hope that you learned something. I know I did, and I really hope that this video can be a starting point, as I said, in starting a conversation with your parents and makes it a little easier for you. Okay, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share this with everyone, and subscribe to the Rotaract Club of Medicro's YouTube channel. Yeah, okay, bye.